in response to the unrest in Amsterdam and the international attention it got in the media. I have put TTS voices in English underneath this video. It sounds a bit corny, but it is about the functionality. Free Palestine.
Today I was in Amsterdam, and I tried to get the real story about what exactly happened after the match Ajax-Maccabi Tel Aviv. The reason would have been a molestation of an Amsterdam taxi driver by the Maccabi Tel Aviv supporters. I asked the Amsterdam taxi drivers what exactly happened.
Coincidentally, this morning I had a colleague who was driving on the Rokin, that's in Amsterdam, and that he saw a number of hooligans pulling on a flag.
Palestinian flag?
Palestinian flag. And when he spoke to them about it, and asked, "What are you doing?" Then they said, "What's your problem?" Then he got out. Then they walked up to him and they gave him the full force, because he thought there were only two of them, and then they came running and he was completely beaten up.
They totally beat him up?
Yes, that is what I understood. I did not see it myself, I was not there. But that is what I heard from that colleague.
And his taxi was too?
He didn't tell me. But that's what I've heard in reports. That there was that colleagues' taxis were completely destroyed. Also assaulted, but
I got a phone number from Mickey, a key figure in the Amsterdam taxi world. He was supposed to be in contact with several taxi drivers who had been abused. Yes, good afternoon. You are speaking to Salaheddine from YouTube.
Salaheddine from YouTube.
How are you doing? Am I bothering you right now, brother? Do you got a minute?
In the middle of a soccer match right now. It just finished. 2-1. And now I'm going to the locker room.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard you're a key figure in the taxi world, is that right?
Yes, that's right. I've been in the middle of it. From the beginning, actually.
We are now in Amsterdam and we are looking for someone who can tell us more about the first incident of yesterday.
I'll tell you all about it. I'm in the middle of it. I've had footage from taxi drivers. From drivers who have been through it from the beginning. I've followed the group app of the drivers. I know all about it. It's really ridiculous. What they're doing in the media. Man, really scandalous.
Shall I meet you? Will you be somewhere soon that I can wait for you?
Football Club Almere City am I now?
Shall we meet there?
Yes, that's fine, man. At DCG, completely fine.
Okay, then we'll meet at DCG.
Fine, then we can drink a cup of coffee and talk. Because I have a lot to tell you. I am disappointed in the media in the Netherlands. The Dutch media. It's scandalous.
Yes, just so you know, we are also filming now. I am also recording this conversation now because we are searching for the truth.
No problem. I will tell you how it is. And where it comes down to, it's a disgrace. They should be ashamed of themselves. Really. The Netherlands is in an uproar. But my drivers, my taxi drivers are heroes. Heroes. But what have they done in the media? I will get them back. I'll get back to them.
That's okay. I'll see you in a minute, brother.
Yes, they simply misbehave. They are not, as it is now being told, as if it is a club that simply travels peacefully through Europe. Because in other parts they have also abused people and shouted slogans.
In Greece too?
Yes, Greece too. Here they also thought they could get away with it, but they did not take into account the residents here, and a taxi driver does not let anyone walk all over him, because this is our bread, and they should just treat us with respect, then they will also get respect in return.
They walked to the city center to the dam, destroying everything, and I think also throwing fences on people. And what else happened is all known.
In the talk shows they talked about organized Jew hunting.
That is nonsense. It is actually very simple. We take everyone to their destination, also Maccabi supporters. But if they do not know how to behave and do not show respect, they should not be surprised if action is taken against them. To be fair, supporters are supporters, but they are now pretending that they are peaceful Boy Scouts. But that is the framing in the media that is completely wrong. We also feel threatened. You must not forget. Look, this stand has about 25 taxis. It is one of the larger stands. Then you have the stand at Leaseplein, which is a bit smaller. But a group of supporters, so to speak, hooligans, I would say, of 200 or 500 people. Even if there are 100, it is still intimidating. This is our livelihood, and if vandalism is caused and we are abused, the cars are vandalized, then that is at the expense of your livelihood and your own safety.
I had made an appointment with Mickey. He told me that he was very shocked by the molestation and that his taxi drivers had filmed everything.
I have images of that. My taxi drivers who experienced this. It happened to them. They were just doing their job, and they were addressed as Arabs, and cursed at. At a certain point, you see someone with a Palestinian flag, and entering other people's houses, without decency, or reason, just tearing it up, actually provoking my taxi drivers, just to provoke the drivers.
What exactly happened to that taxi driver? He wanted to intervene? Can you explain that?
Yes, that one was beaten. They say they are hooligans.
Okay, but those Maccabi supporters hit that taxi driver?
Yes, so first a taxi driver was beaten. Violence was used and then the other taxi drivers responded to that. That's how it started. I am an ex-military. I am a UN veteran, a Dutch batter. So for me, I have been in my time with Dutch bat in Srebrenica. I have seen action there. What I see here is a Zionist military action, and no regular football fanatics.
How's the taxi driver doing?
Not well. But not just him. There are multiple drivers who have come to me. They have given me private recordings in confidence. I am going to hand them over to the police.
So someone filmed himself getting hit. Can I see that footage?
No, I'm sorry. I got that footage in confidence.
And you're going to hand that over to the police? The taxi drivers I filmed all refused to be on camera. I asked Mickey why.
They are now seen as terrorists. That Moroccan Dutchman, who stood up for the owner of the house on the Moroccan, whose flag was simply torn up. He is now seen as a terrorist. He is wanted. He is a victim, but is now being portrayed as a terrorist. He stands up for our freedom, doesn't he? Yes, that's how I see it. He stands up for our Dutch freedom of speech.
That owner of that house who can hang up whatever he wants. Those are our Dutch norms and values, and he stood up for that.
That Moroccan Dutchman stood up for that. And now in the media he is being prosecuted. He can't even indicate that he is a victim. He is not allowed to make himself known that he is the victim. It's the world upside down. I also don't understand why our politicians abandon their own citizens. Moroccan Dutch who stand up for the Netherlands, for the Dutch flag, like me. I am a Dutch batter, a blue helmet. I also stood up for my country. The Netherlands in Srebrenica. I took in Dutch batters during the genocide of Srebrenica. Personally, I know exactly what those boys feel. They feel anxious because they are seen as perpetrators, while they are actually the victims. What I want to say, let the victims report to me, and we go to the police and file a complaint against that football club, against our politicians who have let us down, and also for libel and slander. They have been beaten and threatened, and nobody does anything about it. The police and the politicians have let them down. These are two important institutions of our country.
Maccabi supporters came to Amsterdam to play football against Ajax. They were portrayed as football hooligans or as football supporters. But when they pulled that Palestinian flag off that building, that's a political act, so you can't see them as normal football supporters anymore. Then they become a kind of half IDF-like figures. I don't know what you should call them, but they're not regular football supporters. Because then they're practicing politics.
You say that very well, Salaheddine, but you are talking about that Palestinian flag, right? But in principle, it is actually the Dutch flag that they are tearing up. Because that Palestinian flag that was hanging on the house of a Dutchman in the Netherlands, they come here from an occupied area for football. What are they doing with the Dutch flag to tear it up? They tore up our Dutch flag. That's why I say those heroes.
Those Moroccan Dutch taxi drivers are heroes to me.
Let's say, it had been Arab supporters of an Arabic club who would do this here and tear down flags, whatever flags it might be, and vandalize other people's property. Then the country would have been too small. Then they would have gotten a lifelong stadium bans and screaming bloody murder.
If they had pulled down the Israeli flag.
Just to give an example. So it is framed very one-sidedly. But people have to be realistic.